Imagine that you're at the mall on a shopping trip. Next to each item are the producers that made the item. In today's society, most items would have women and children next to them, with hungry bellies and tattered clothes. In a shop with Fairtrade certified items, you would find people with full bellies and smiling faces. This is the difference between Fairtrade operations and sweatshops and modern slavery. According to the World Fair Trade Organization, an organization with over 323 companies falling under its umbrella, Fairtrade can be defined as a partnership based on dialogue, transparency, and respect that seeks greater equity in international trade. 10,000 Villages, a Fairtrade nonprofit retail franchise in Asheville, North Carolina, was started by a Mennonite group in 1946. This group helped and continue to help artisans in developing countries to gain economic stability. I have firsthand knowledge about this topic through my volunteering at 10,000 Villages as well as my research for this speech. Today, I will introduce to you the pros and cons of this fair trade movement that is growing in popularity. Today, let's begin by looking at how fair trade and sweatshops differ. In recent years, the realization of putting adults and children in poverty and dangerous situations for our benefit of excess goods has grown. Many poverty-ridden countries force people into sweatshops for the mass production of goods that we take for granted in the United States. The United Nations states that 166 million children between the ages of 5 and 14 were involved in child labor in the year of 2004. This shocking statistic was an 11% drop since the year of 2000. Out of those 166 million children, the United Nations stated that 76 million of those children worked in hazardous environments. This was a 33% drop from the year of 2000. However, though these statistics sound promising, child labor and sweatshops are still very real things in today's society. With this growing awareness, consumers are recognizing that supporting fair trade is the most sustainable and fair choice to make for all concerned. 10,000 Villages was also a founding member of the World Fair Trade Organization. Their guidelines for trading with artisans are similar to the other 323 companies within the World Fair Trade Organization. According to 10,000 Villages, they and the producers of the products discuss fair wages and prices that they think it would be fair to sell products for. In this discussion, they consider time to create the products, cost to ship the product to the country in which it will be sold, and money needed by the artisan to support a fair and healthy life in their area. 10,000 Villages claims that the concept of fair trade is not based solely on monetary value. It is based on relationships from producer to consumer. In all fair trade situations, the artisan or farmer stays in their area. They are not required to move. Long-term relationships are formed in many fair trade situations. This guarantees the artisans or farmers a guaranteed income of continual sources. The Fair Trade USA compliance criteria for the Farm Workers Standard states that access to primary education is ensured for all children of workers living on the farmer's property. This is another example of how fair trade operations work to promote the most opportunities possible for their farmers and artisans. Fair trade can be wonderful, but it also has many drawbacks. Many fair trade farmers especially feel the wrath of this. Cocoa farmers are ridiculously involved in the negative aspects. According to Colleen Height of the Stanford Social Innovation Review, an online magazine written by leaders in social change, two major fair trade coffee companies, Fair Trade USA and Fair Trade Labeling Organizations International, have very specific requirements to be certified fair trade. In these specifications, farmers must be members of small cooperatives within their group. This can hurt their economic stability. Farmers are also not allowed to have full-time workers. This can pose as a major issue for many farmers that would need full-time help around the year to supply goods to larger companies. For this reason, many corporations cannot support the fair trade movement. Though fair trade has some negative aspects, it is a predominantly beneficial practice that can be found in 23 producing countries across the world. Fair Trade International stated this fact. In pink, you see the countries that are producers of fair trade goods. In blue, you see countries that are the consumers of these goods. Most of these countries, as you see, that are producers fall in Asia, Africa, or South America. Different groups produce different things within countries, but many of them fall into similar categories. One of my favorite groups is called Silence. This is a group of deaf men and women in India that still want to be contributing members of society. They produce items like these incense that are sandalwood and fair trade certified. Another group was formed by Ghanaian farmers, and it is a chocolate brand called Divine. They produce shade-grown chocolate. My favorite group is a group of women from the Philippines called Sanctuary Spring. These women escaped prostitution and are working to rebuild lives. These cards were made by these women. Profits from these proceeds go to assist them in creating a better life for themselves. We have now seen both the positive and negative aspects of the fair trade system. In conclusion, supporting the fair trade market can be rewarding for both the producer and the consumer, but still poses issues. However, by shopping fair trade, you are giving a chance to those who would not otherwise be able to support and sustain themselves. Though it is not a foolproof system, it is more sustainable than that of modern slavery and keeps the producing end out of poverty, which many, many people in sweatshops are stuck in. By purchasing items from producers directly, you supply opportunities to people in need. By doing this, we can make the world a better place together. Thank you.